Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Jenny. I'm from Jenny Card Designs. Thanks so much for joining me today. My YouTube channel contains content that is intended to share paper crafting tutorials and inspiration with all of you. I hope that you enjoy. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you a revamp of my Gemvelope template reference book. This is Gemvelopes 2.0. So if you already have purchased my original Gemvelope book, you won't need to purchase this book, but there are some new cool features and new templates in this book, along with some of the classic envelope styles. So let's take a look inside of this book and see what we've got. First up, we have the introductory page that I have in all of my books, just talking a little bit about what's inside of the book. And then we have a table of contents. If we look real close at the table of contents, the pages aren't numbered in number sequence, but rather they're numbered by project type. So for example, I've got A7 projects and they're all going to be labeled page A7. Also, if you'll notice, each project type has a different color. So they're color coordinated across my entire line of books so that when you're looking at A2 type projects, you're going to find them all the same color blue. Okay, and I've done this for all of my books. They all coordinate the same so that you'll be able to easily identify which projects go together. So for example, I've got this A2 envelope, and then in my book about boxes and bags, I have an A2 card box that coordinates with it. I'll link to another video that goes into a little bit more detail about the book about boxes and bags. We'll go through all of the envelope templates in a minute, but if we just flip to the back of this book, I want to share this with you. I've included some grid paper so that if you're inspired to create your own sort of projects, then you have a spot in this book to design your own templates. And the last page of this book has something extra special that I wanted to share with you. You're going to find a large envelope that has been handmade by my mother. So my mother sat in the craft room and was inspired to create envelopes and fell in love with this envelope design. So I gave her some measurements, like my typical standard Gemvelope template references, and she created all of these envelopes that we're going to include inside your book. Each envelope is different. No two are alike. They're one of a kind. And I thought that was just an extra special touch. And my mother is so proud to have these included inside of my Gemvelope template reference book. The idea for this envelope for my book is to keep the samples of all of my templates. So what I've done is created a color coordinating envelope that matches each of my projects. For my A2 envelope template, I have a blue sheet of cardstock that I've created my envelope out of, and then I've also stored my card-based sample inside of the envelope. This template has two guides to creating A2 side card bases. We have a top folding card base as well as a side folding card base. So I'll keep one of each of those inside of my A2 envelope, and I'll just slip those into that envelope, and then I can open up the pocket in the back of this book and put that inside. And then I have my template sample stored away for future reference. The envelope that my mother's made has gussets on the side, so it's a little bit of room for you to grow, and you can stick all your stuff in there and not worry that it's going to rip the envelope. They're pretty well made, nice and sturdy, and you can stuff all of your samples in there, and then you'll have them for a quick reference. And what I love about this is that I've got a rainbow of samples in the back of my book. I think it's really, it's a really fun project, and if you don't have any ideas or inspiration, run through the book and make some samples of envelopes, tuck them in the back of your book, and you'll have them for future reference. In case that you forget how they're made or the size or anything like that, if you want to know, then you've got a little sample in the back of your book. Okay, so I'm going to put all of my envelopes back in, and while I've been blabbing away here, I've just been showing you all the different samples. We've got A2, A7, mini slimline, regular slimline, A8, and we've also got some square envelope templates, and we'll get to those in a few minutes. For the mini slimline, the slimline, and the A8 envelopes, I have two different samples to create a business style and a policy style. So it's a little bit of an extra bonus there. And I've used different shades of cardstock to create my samples so that I can differentiate which template is which. So that's just a fun little way to have everything color coordinate and create a rainbow, because, you know, who doesn't love a rainbow? So the last thing that I wanted to talk about for this new Gemvelope template reference book, the 2.0 version, are the square envelope templates. I have 3 samples inside of my book for square templates that measure 4 inches, 5 inches, and 6 inches. So what that means is that the card base measures 4, 5, or 6, and the envelope will fit that size of card. So I also share in all of my templates, I share a layers guide so that you can create layering mats on the front of your card base, along with how to cut and score the card bases to get the most out of your cardstock. So those are in all of my templates. As I mentioned, if you've purchased my Gemvelope template reference book, you don't necessarily need the 2.0. It is a similar book. It's got improved graphics, it has new templates, and a little bit more organization and more clear and concise guides. Okay, so the next book that I wanted to go over very quickly before we get into a card project is my Chop It Up book. My Chop It Up book is designed to give you a guide to cut up 12 by 12 cardstock. It is full of projects and measurements and ideas to use up some of that 12 by 12 pattern paper. So the reason why I'm showing you this is that I have a collection of books now. There are 3 books: Chop It Up, a book about boxes and bags, and Gemvelope Templates 2.0. If you purchase all 3 of these books, then I have decided to include the mini template book for free. So if you're new to my channel and you've never purchased any of my books before, then you're going to get this brand new book for free. This is not available for individual sale. This is only available as a free gift for the purchase of 3 books. If you buy the 3-book digital download, then you will get the mini template book for free as a digital download. As I mentioned, this is not available for individual purchase. Okay, so let's get into a card project for today. I have these 6x6 pattern papers that I got from a website called In Love Arts. I will leave that linked in the description box down below. They've got tons of fun stuff, stamps, dies, pattern papers, and such. So I picked up this beautiful sort of alcohol ink looking backgrounds. I've decided I'm going to use my mini template book, and I'm going to flip through this book and look for some ideas for 6x6 pattern paper. And I'm looking to make a couple of cards. I just haven't decided which one that I want to do. So I've got an option for an A2 pattern paper card front. So I have 2 options, A or B. I also have an A7 pattern paper card front. I've decided to use the A2 pattern paper card front panels B. Okay, and I'm just going to flip through this little book of papers so that I can show you very quickly what's inside of it. And they're so vibrant and beautiful. I really love this paper pack. All right, so I'm going to grab a trimmer and my mini template book, and the measurements in here are going to tell me to make my first cut at 4 1/4 inches, creating a larger piece and a smaller piece. Okay, so with that larger piece, across the 6-inch side, I'm going to cut at 3 inches. So this is going to give me my 2 card front panels. So this is going to measure 3 by 4 1/4. All right, and I'll set those aside. And then I have this smaller piece left over. And this smaller piece is a little bonus that you get. You can use this to decorate your envelopes or inside of your cards. We'll put this in the trimmer and cut across the 1 3/4 inch side and cut that down to 7/8. It's not perfect, it's not exact, it doesn't really matter. But I'm going to get 2 little strips to make my cards. So I've got 2 card bases here. I've got 2 A2 size top folding card bases and my pattern paper and my strips and 2 envelopes. I'm just going to grab some double-sided tape here. I'm going to adhere down those panels on the center of my white card base. And I'm using a 110-pound Neenah Classic Crest Solar White cardstock. This is a nice heavy base weight cardstock. I'm going to adhere my panels down to the front of these cards, and then I'm going to grab those little strips and I'm going to adhere them on the inside. I think it just ties everything together and brings a little pop of color on the inside of the card. So I'm just going to grab my scissors and I'm going to trim off those little excess pieces. Don't throw these away. We're going to use those in a minute. So I'm just going to set them aside, and I'm going to grab my bone folder to crease these card bases. I want to make sure that they're nice and flat, and I'm not sure why. I just like it better when they're creased really well. All right, I'm going to grab this stamp set from Gina K Designs. I shared this little hack the other day in a previous video. I'll link to that video where I created all of these little sentiment strips and then tucked them away in this stamp pocket so that I had a bunch of sentiments stored away for future use. So I'm just going to dig through there, grab out a couple of sentiments, and I'm going to adhere them to the front of my cards, and I'm just going to leave it like that. I'm not going to do too much to this. I'm going to let the pattern paper sort of be the focal image on this card. And then I'm going to grab a couple of gems. I've got some of these matte silver pearls, and I'll link to those as well in the description down below. I've just dumped them out into this little triangle tray, and I'm just popping them around my card just to create a little bit of visual appeal to that alcohol inked background. And then I'll use my glue, and I'm using a fine tip bottle glue here so that I don't get glue all over the place. And I'm just going to pick up those little pearls and pop down a little drop of glue and put the pearls back on top. And then that's it. The card's complete. I'm going to do the same thing to the other card, and for this one I'm going to use a matte gold pearl. So I really like the way that these turned out. And now I'm going to grab those few little scraps that were left over, and I'm going to create little banners. And then I'm going to adhere it down on the envelope where the postage stamp would go. I think it's cute and it just adds a little bit of something extra to that envelope. And then that's going to be it. These cards are complete. Super simple and easy, and all of the measurements I needed to create this project were in my little mini template book. Here's a close-up look at our finished card project. Thank you so much for joining me today. You'll find all of the products that I used in today's video listed in the description box down below, along with a link to my template books that are currently on sale, where you'll get that deal with the free mini template book. Coming up on screen are a couple of videos I think you may enjoy, including the entire list of my Chop It Up series, which is full of card ideas, envelopes, templates, boxes, tags, and so much more. Thanks again for joining me. Have yourself a lovely day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!